Does 50 Cent have a point, or is he just petty?
February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done. Me performing BMF with the icon himself. This shit gonna be special.
Epic.
Get your tickets right now.
I'm back.
What up, word? Your boy Challz back again, talking facts. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Keep sending those Cashapp CLBMG gang. I just got back home. Worst vacation of my life, worst cruise of my life. I'm just gonna be honest. It was awful. Yeah, like 7 days straight. Stayed on the boat. I think I left the boat one time, and that was to go to Puerto Rico and go to the Walgreens and get some medicine, gang. I thought I was gonna die out there. I'm just gonna be honest. But listen, man, I'm back home. I got work to do. I know you hear that in my voice, that there's a little something still going on, but we got work to do, gang. So I'm just gonna push through, and I give it a couple days. We'll be back to normal. But as long as you can hear what I'm saying, that's all that matters. So I want to talk about this Rick Ross 50 Cent BMF situation, because while I was gone, a lot of weirdo stuff happened, and I think a lot of people got it misconstrued about street stuff and just real life stuff. So I want to speak on this, like, 50 Cent situation. When I first saw it, it hit my phone. I got a headline, and it was like 50 cancels Lil Meech and the BMF show over loyalty. And I was like, here we go again. This dude's so damn petty. He's just going to abruptly do some nonsense. You know what I'm saying? I said, I'll get back to that. I'm going to go back to sleep. I'm just going to roll over, go back to sleep. I'll figure that out later, because I don't really think that's a real story that's going to have any legs, right? I wake back up. This thing got mad legs, gang. It's a lot to it. A lot of moving parts. And I'm like, where does this canceling the show? You're canceling an entire show. He's never done that before. So you're going to cancel an entire show? What happened, right? So I go onto Twitter, start watching. And before I really had a chance to make up my mind, something struck me as really odd. And I was like, oh, yeah, I see why he did it. I know a lot of people like, you petty, da-da-da. Okay, you got to understand, this guy has never changed. He's been like this for years. In the streets, in the business world, in the real world, even in the playground, if you align yourself with somebody, you got to know who they are. You got to know their traits. We all know that 50 is borderline petty, if not the pettiest dude alive. I can't think of nobody, honestly, other than he who shall not be named, that the president, that is pettier than 50 Cent, right? Your boy 50 literally just kept it consistent when Irv Gotti passed, right? So he never, ever changes. And the one thing I saw Big Meech, and I'm going to fill y'all in. I'm going to tell y'all the whole story just in case who don't. I know y'all know this is 3 days old. Big Meech put his elbow on Rick Ross' shoulder and was smiling, announcing the show that they doing on, what, February 13th? It's going to be Rick Ross, Big Meech. It's Big Meech's welcome back show, welcome home show. Lil Boozy, D-Lo, just a whole bunch of people, whole bunch of cast of characters, gang. It's going to be a flooded out event. In the words of one of these guys, I heard him say, yeah, don't pay your rent this month. Go get some ice and head down to the show. This is that kind of show. Some real classy shit, gang. I'm just going to be honest, right? So I see Big Meech put his elbow on Rick Ross like they was the best of buddies. And they doing the line of Sexy Red, da-da-da. I said, oh, yeah. It all makes sense now. 50 don't like Rick Ross, and Rick Ross don't like 50. The very minute you put your shoulder on that man's arm and act like y'all was buddy, he had to, listen, gang, I'm going to be honest with you. I see people move together all the time that I find are weird combinations, and I don't I don't dead business with him, but I try to keep a lot of stuff at a arm's length. Everything not for everybody, but when you see that, it's telling you this guy rocks with this dude and he's trying to rock with me. Now, the only problem with it is 50 did a lot more for Big Meech and Lil Meech than Rick Ross has ever done. I'm just going to be honest. So I'm going to tell you what happened, and we're going to have a conversation. So, Lil Meech is the son of Big Meech. 50 Cent decided to do a BMF series, and he was going to be several seasons, and they were going to start casting. He has that kind of power because he's in bed with Stars Entertainment. The fact that he has this business relationship with Stars gives him the kind of power that most people do not have, including Rick Ross. Now, if we're going to really be honest, BMF was known, but really only in the hood. We really are the only ones that revered that whole situation. They weren't a worldwide commodity. No one was giving BMF a show. Let's just be honest. 50 did that. 50 built an entire program off of this man's life. And I'm gonna be honest, when I first heard it, he said, I'm gonna do a BMF. I was like, that could go either way. Like, I wasn't like, so like, okay, this gonna knock. I was like, this could just be like a one and done. Because I don't know who's going to watch this. You know what I mean? 50 not only takes the risk on the show, all the 50 shows are risk. Who would spin off 3 powers? Who would dead power and then do 4 spinoffs? And all of them still going to this day. Except for Tariq. Tariq went 4 seasons though, gang. Let's just be honest. They ended it on their own. It wasn't canceled. He's casting for Big Meech, who is a legendary kingpin in his own right. He's not going to use an accredited actor. He's going to use Lil Meech. He knows he can't just throw this kid in there, so he pays for the kid to get acting classes. He sends Meech to acting classes, I think it's in Cali or something, pays for him, stays on him to complete them. I think it's almost 2 years worth. He spends his own money showing Meech love, putting his own son, building wealth for this kid. So he spends his own money to train Lil Meech up. Lil Meech gets the job. Very unnecessary. Didn't have to put him in the movie at all. There's a lot of people in the show, that are not actors per se. And he put a lot of people on. A lot of work was created from this series. Just gonna be honest. Now, with that being said, he's looking out for you and your son because he's funneling that money back to you. And now your son is going to reach new fame and riches and heights. And I remember when he first started in that role, and there was a lot of criticism about him outside of that, how he wasn't ready for Hollywood, like it's just as far as how he dressed out in the world and how he acted. 50 worked this man into being a young gentleman, let's just say that. So he took time that Big Meech didn't have to do himself. He didn't put it in the work himself because he was unfortunately incarcerated. So I say all that to say, 50 was being real good to Lil Meech and Big Meech. Let's just be honest. And that's a loyalty that he did not have. He could have just bought the rights and moved on like a regular exec. So fast forward, I think we're 3 seasons, we're 3 seasons down. Big Meech gets released from prison. And now he's home, about to do a welcome home concert. And one of the people he invites is 50 Cent's mortal enemy, Rick Ross, who, let's just be honest, Rick Ross thrives off of negativity and trying to complete the same shit 50 does, let's just be honest, but trying to pick at 50 any kind of way he can. Rick Ross may have put some dollars into Big Meech's pocket at some point or another, but he is not taking care of this man's family. Because after 50 Cent saw the picture and the video of Big Meech and Rick Ross, he bugged out, right? As you would expect. And Rick Ross thought it was hilarious that 50 Cent blew up this whole situation. So let me read to you what happened. So then 50 Cent goes and posts, "I think I'm Big Meech," with a picture of a rat, saying that Big Meech is a rat. Which I don't like stuff like this, because if he was a rat before, he was a rat before. If you knew this, what were you going to do if he didn't take the pictures with Rick Ross? But that's a whole nother subject, because we'll never know. Because what happened was, he took the video and the pictures with Rick Ross, and it made 50 bug out and go full on 50. So here we are, once again, 50's attacking somebody in public, viciously trying to assault their character. So now, the little son that he's been treating like a son for at least 5 years, I want to say, at least 5 years, he's now texting him because 50 allegedly unfollowed him. So let me read what he says. "They just told me you unfollowed me off Instagram and now you manage a Skilla Baby with Rocket when I brought him around you first when you didn't have a clue who he was. Now you mad at me when I would take the shirt off my back for you. I can't believe this, man. You act as if I'm your enemy. I've only showed you love and loyalty, and I'm only human. I go through my own stuff, but I never switched up on you. F Ross, but he gave my dad some bread so he can afford to pay his bills until our next season starts. This internet shit is throwing me off, man. You know me in real life." So that is obviously a hurt Lil Meech. He is confused. He doesn't understand he's paying for the sins of his father. And that's what happens. You only got where you are because of your father. Because without your dad, there would be no show. There would be no 4-season series. And you wouldn't have that part in the first place. So when 50 decided to cut ties, that meant you too. Which is, it's sad. Don't get me wrong. It's sad because this kid don't have to deal with it. But at the same time, this is how life works. Now, I want to say something about the F Ross, but he gave my dad some bread so he can afford to pay my bills, to pay his bills until our next season starts. I want to say this respectfully. I don't know why Ross has to give Big Meech anything. There's probably 100 people on the streets that should be coming out their pocket to hand this man bags every single day. I'm just going to be honest. But that bag came at a cost. If I'm Big Meech, there is a series about my life funded by a man named Curtis Jackson, a.k.a. 50 Cent, who has shown me and my son nothing but loyalty. If Ross going to give me a bag behind the scenes, that's one thing. But if he's going to be a part openly, I honestly got to really decide if me hugging up to Ross is worth losing that TV series. I'm just going to be honest. You got to realize when Ross inserts himself, it's only to antagonize. You seen it. It's not just I'm just going to make business. No, it's I'm going to antagonize. He said it in the video. He said, I could have pieced it up with 50 years ago. I've had 100 people come and try to squash that situation. He said, I would never squash it because it's my own personal TV show. Because I can wake up one day, say something about him, and then throw whatever I'm promoting at the end of the tag, and now I got an instant commercial. He uses the 50 Cent stuff for promotion. He loves it. So you as Big Meech got to understand, when you go and do a video with Rick Ross, it is promotion for him. And his biggest promotion, he said it to this day, is when he gets under 50 Cent's skin in any kind of way. Any chance he get to attack 50 Cent, he's going to take it. So he's knowing all this BMF stuff that has been running rampant for at least 5 years, he can tear that down with one 10-second video, and then he can laugh about it. He's definitely going to do it. He cannot stand this, man. This is the problem that Big Meech didn't understand. It's not about people. People look at like it's being petty. Da da da. I'm like, gay. I invested in you and your son. Me and this guy are literal, like mortal enemies. We go at it every year. This guy has called me some of the most heinous things. He's still to this day saying, I need a loan from him because I'm broke. If this is the guy you decide to do a video with and go have perform at your event, it's telling me we ain't as good as I thought. And you liable to do anything. See, when you start looking at the real world, 50 Cent mom was killed in the hood over street stuff. 50 Cent got shot 9 times over street stuff. 50 Cent is in a lot of personal beef over street stuff. He lives by a code. And the main thing in that code is loyalty. Now, if I gotta see you hugged up with a guy that lives to pick at me and lives to downplay me, when I put money in you and your son's pockets for the last 4 or 5 years, I've made your son a star when you couldn't do it yourself. And I'm telling you, we got more on the way, and you throw that all away for one show? Yeah. Me personally, I'm looking at it as disloyal. I'm just going to be honest. Because if we just out here kicking it here and there, that's one thing. I took your son under my wing. I made him into a viable brand. Cleaned him up, right? Just going to be honest. Remember when people saying he was dirty? Even after he got the part, they were like, he stink, he dirty. Cleaned him up. I'm just telling you what happened. Don't make me the problem. I'm just telling you what happened. When I do all of that, because people take it personal, he ain't even doing that for his own son. Him and his own son don't even get along. So when I do all that, yeah, I think 50 the kind of person that don't like putting himself out there. He really don't. Right? But he got a heart in there. And when he exposes it and you show him that kind of ass to kiss, yeah, we gonna go ahead and move on without you. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not the biggest 50 Cent. I just had a whole video about how 50 doesn't like Kendrick. I got a whole nother video, right? And I take stuff on a case-by-case basis. I'm not a 50 apologist or a defender of 50, but I'm just telling you what I'm seeing for this situation. It looks super disloyal, gang. You could literally have that entire show without Rick Ross. You can still have the show. Because was it worth it? Now, 50 owns all the rights to the movies and film. See, this is the thing with Rick Ross. Everything is funny. He'll blow up people's lives and then go online laughing about it. Now he's joking that he wants to make the movie about BMF, right? He wants to make the movie about it. But he don't own the rights, 50 does. So it's all smoke and mirrors. It's nonsense. He knows that. You got to think about the two different guys. You got one guy who goes into offices, corporate offices, and does big-time television and movie deals. Let's just be honest. Rick Ross is doing car shows and wing stops. They both make money. They both make money, gang. But they're different mind states that it takes. It's different. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to look at the guy that's going into Stars and that's going into Netflix and wherever else he's going into, and Tyler Perry built his own studio, right? 50 built a whole lavish production studio. I'm going to kind of ride that way a little bit because the Wingstop thing is cool and the car show thing is cool, but me, it's just my own opinion. I'm kind of grown up, gang. I don't find pleasure in being at car shows. I don't really care about that. I couldn't tell you what's the new what. It doesn't mean anything to me. Now, I could tell you what movie did $2 billion. I could tell you what movie hit $500 million. I can tell you what show is on season 7. I can tell you what show everybody's talking about. I can tell you that 50 about to employ hundreds of thousands of people down there in, is it Shreveport? He's bought that whole space. Yeah, they're going to have a lot of work. So meanwhile, let's just be honest, gang. I'm not being disrespectful. Rick Ross is opening another Wingstop somewhere, giving you another minimum wage job while he waits for the next car show to show all his cars. I think Meech may have miscalculated. And see, you're expecting a man who lived through a lot of treacherous things to act like that doesn't bother him. But it's a lot of dudes that got backdoored because their mans was chilling with people that just don't like him. 50 has decided the slightest hint of that, and you and everybody else is out of here. It's noble, gang. A lot of people like to play games and be passive aggressive, right? Look at the Black Boy Max situation. It was passive aggressive, yo, don't smoke in here, da-da-da. Now these dudes is dissing them, and it's standing on something. So, is it harsh? Yes, it's harsh love. But I feel like immediately, Big Meech came out dissing him. Immediately, right back dissing. So it's like, how loyal was you really if you immediately came firing back? I get it. You doing your thing. But to me, and salute to Big Meech, I don't have nothing against him. I don't know the guy. I have no problem with BMF. I feel like he might have should have just not affiliated with Rick Ross unless that's what he's like. F it. I do what I want. And that's okay. If he does what he wants, then he did what he wanted. Can't be mad at that. End of the day, 50's like, what season, little N-word? So it sounds like 50 probably going to cancel the whole season. I'm not even going to speak on snitching, allegations, and things of that nature. That's a whole different video for a whole nother day. I just wanted to speak on 50 canceling BMF abruptly over Rick Ross posing with Big Meech. I find it to be actually 100% in pocket. I feel like it is 100%, because where do you go if you keep the show? You keep the show, you keep the kid on. How far does this go with Rick Ross nudging himself into this thing with Meech? How far? Before you know it, they on tour. Before you know it, y'all pop up in the same place and he's with him too. How far does it go, right? And he should have known that how this guy treated Southwest T when he did it, as soon as he saw him in the picture. But Rick Ross knows this. He knows that he can get under this guy's skin. He has nothing to lose. He can just keep doing what he's doing, laughing all the way to the bank, while 50 is, I'm not going to say scrambling, because 50 doing this thing too. These two guys don't matter. Really, it's the kid in the middle who loses his job that he apparently needs because he goes F Ross, but he gave my dad some bread so he can afford to pay his bills until our next season starts. So allegedly, you're eating off of this job, you and your dad. He needs that money. Why would you risk it for this show? It is what it is. Let me know what you think in the comments. CLBMG. I'll be back soon. It'll get better. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all watching. I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side piece.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine.
CLB.